Hello and welcome back to Neurospicy Noelle. I am Noelle, your host, and this is my personal neurodivergent women wellness story through menopause, misdiagnoses, what the science and clinical studies are showing you because there's no research study done on it. Before I give you my last 6-month health update, because I know I've disappeared for about 6 months, but I think I really need to give you a little backstory because otherwise you're going to hear where I am today without understanding what hell I went through and what it took to get here. You need to understand the hell I was living in then to understand the most beautiful state I am living in today. Let's go back to 2023, but I got to have a little bit more of a backstory sentence to follow up to 3 years. I was raised a Jehovah's Witness, and 9 years ago, I drifted away from that, exploring, learning, studying facts, researching things so I can understand what was brainwashing and what was mind control and what was really my thoughts. So 3 years ago in 2023, after having drifted that long, I made the decision that I was not going to go back to the Jehovah's Witness religion. I notified my family members who were still participating heavily, they still are, that I was no longer going to be a Jehovah's Witness. And that came with a lot of backlash. I mean, they really think I'm going to die. They really think that God was not going to forgive me for making a decision to choose a spiritual path that is more authentic to myself and aligns with a lot of different things that I have researched and studied. I was no longer being force-fed what to believe. So it took consistent boundaries for a year or more with some of my family members, and those boundaries came with consequences. I really don't think people understand, unless you've lived in a high control religion or even a high control environment, that when you're cut off from that religion, I was cut off from communication with some family members. To this day, I still don't communicate with some that I love so dearly, not because I don't want to, but because the religion deems that you cannot talk to those who are bad association. My door is always open to my family. I love them, but my boundaries have to be respected for my spiritual views. And that's the part that they don't tell you about leaving a high control religion. You don't just lose a religion or beliefs. You lose history. You can lose the family you love so dearly. You can lose your friends, your community, your sense of belonging, and sometimes even your sense of who you are. And that's what happened to me. There's this overwhelming sense of loss and grief for the people who are still alive, just not in your life. And that kind of grief can feel really strange. I suffered with that for many, many years because they're still here. You know they're still here. They're just not a part of your life as the way they once were. And eventually you find yourself standing at a crossroad, asking yourself, what's more important? Conforming to a life that isn't authentically yours just so you can continue belonging, or becoming who you were actually supposed to be. And that is a very scary task to take. For me, I had to choose myself. There was no options. I had to learn to love myself and maintain my boundaries while figuring out who I am outside of this community and step into a life that was entirely mine. There was no roadmap or handbook given to me. I'm like, here's your life. Now go figure it out. No, I just had to make the choice and take the step to keep moving forward. And choosing that life didn't mean I stopped loving the people I left behind. No, they're still here. I love them. I just finally stopped abandoning myself to keep them. Then in July 2023, I moved from Houston, Texas to New Braunfels, Texas. I've always loved the Texas Hill Country. If you've never been here, I highly recommend that you book a vacation because it's absolutely beautiful. Go search it right now. You'll see why I'm here. But that first year here was super challenging. I had left my social group that I had just entered in after a cult, and I thought that's how life would be. Now I'm doing it again into a place where the only people that are here for me are family inside of the religious organization I just left. Well, I moved here and I didn't know anybody. And in my opinion, what I experienced on that path in that religion, my personal experience was cult-like. I'll tell you more about that journey another time because that's not what we're here to talk about. I'm just trying to get you updated so we can get on to the 6-month update. I'm talking about what happened to me and what I personally walked through in my wellness and transformation. Imagine leaving a high control religion where you grew up being taught that you were not valuable as a woman. Higher education was something you were not supposed to pursue. Chasing money or success or a career, or even my own dreams could be viewed as wrong or taboo. Then add layers of abuse on top of that, a high-paced, fast-paced lifestyle in the city and nightlife with a high-stress career. Then add different layers of abuse on top of that. A city lifestyle and nightlife combined with a high-stress career and no coping skills for 30 years. For years, I pushed everything down into the deepest crevices of my mind, body, and soul. I didn't deal with it. I didn't want to touch it. I had too much on my plate to do. I didn't even know how to deal with it. All I knew was just keep going, keep swimming. And I was really damn good at just keeping going until menopause showed up. Apparently, Mother Nature had other plans because menopause came busting through my door like a SWAT team with the warrant for my sanity, ripping open every one of those crevices where I had stuffed my entire life of trauma within. And Mother Nature basically said, okay, honey, we're dealing with this shit show now. Everything I had spent decades pushing down, all of it suddenly demanded my attention. Physically, mentally, and emotionally. I couldn't even outrun it anymore. So what did I do next? Stay tuned to find out. If you've made it to the end, thank you so much. If something resonated with you, please subscribe, like, and follow. I've got 5 more videos coming, and you're going to want to see what happens next. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.